Hello.
Luis, how are you doing?
Good, good,
Oh my
good, good,
God,
good, man.
finally, after
Good.
100 years, after 100 cancellations.
Yes,
Good to see you,
yes.
man.
Sorry, it's
Good to
been
see you.
forever since I've used like Zoom, dude.
Sorry.
Good, good. How have you been?
Very well, thank you so much. So tell
Great.
me,
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Let me know, is there like a lot of like fan noise?
no, the fan noise are not not more, but if you turn around, maybe then the light will fall on your face and I'll be able to see you much more
Sure,
clear.
sure, sure. I'm trying to turn it off here. Hot as heck up in here. Just okay. And here, I'll turn a light on in my room, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that would be better.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Much better. Oh, again, gone dark. That's all right. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, now I can definitely now hear you better.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me how your day has been so
Pretty
far.
good. I my landlord is selling the house
Okay.
because he got hit with like $100,000 city fine.
Oh, for what?
So it's just exposed wires in the bathroom.
Oh
Not,
my
not a big deal.
God. Wow. Okay.
No, 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 nothing like that. No, it was
100,000 is a lot, man.
yeah, no, yeah, no. So he has to sell the house to like
Okay.
offset the fine. And it is like it's nonsense. It's like he set up like not doing like proper permit stuff
Okay.
at his in his own house,
Okay.
stuff like that. He let them know that he was going to be doing construction, like turning the basement into a like a livable space.
Hmm.
So he was going to be putting heat and stuff down there, but they didn't. But they were like, "Oh no, you didn't. You weren't like you're not zoned for water
Right.
for like a bathroom
Right.
for plumbing." But it's like, well, there was already it was already hooked, like the water was already hooked up down there. You didn't have to change anything. But they're
Right.
like, no, you have to like let us know if you're gonna do like a toilet or something like that. And
Right.
they ended up like hitting him with like it's the city like bureaucracy and stuff.
Right. I mean,
Like it affects me.
if he's
Like
selling it for $100,000, then I can buy.
no, 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 dude.
It's not on
It's like
auction.
a two-story house.
I know. I
So
know.
he's selling this. I don't know what he'll get, but he'll probably get like I don't know a mil probably.
Oh, is it? Is it that big? Okay. Louis, I think I would love to have
Yeah, it's like
more light on your face because you're a good-looking guy and I cannot, you know.
sure, sure, sure. Here, I'll just bring over a lamp from
Yeah.
my desk.
Yeah.
Uh, one more second. Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Okay, good, good, good.
Better,
Better.
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, better. Okay. So is
Yeah.
where
So I've
are
been
you
like looking
located?
for a place to move to,
Ah, okay. So where
basically.
are you located?
I live in like let's say Bushwick. Let's say
Bush.
Bushwick. I mean, I live in I live close enough to like the tiny cupboard where we
Okay,
like met.
got it. Okay.
Um, but I don't. Yeah, I live like
Ah, Bush.
basically I live in Woodhaven. Technically, I live in Woodhaven, New York, which is like
Oh,
Queens.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
no?
No, it's close enough to stuff.
Yeah.
So like I'm like an hour away from my job in the Upper East Side.
Right, 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 right. Okay. Because Woodhaven is in Queens, I think, no?
Yeah, Woodhaven's in Queens. It
Yeah.
is in
Because
Queens, but
I'm
it's
in
like
Queens. Yeah. I'm in Queens. It's just very,
yeah.
yeah. New South Richmond and Woodhaven are very
Mhm.
close. And like a half an hour from Tiny Cupboard, you're right. Not even half an hour, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not that close, but I feel like it's close enough. I mean,
Close enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would like to be closer to Brooklyn, but somehow I don't know. I like Queens better because, I can shut down myself. Brooklyn is a lot of, activity, and I need to rejuvenate my creative energies in order to, get back into the
yeah, yeah.
mode. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It feels like Queens feels more like it feels quieter, it's slower, it's not as like, it feels like a suburb.
yes, it is. It is a suburb, and it is like 1980s, It's like you're back in time and
Yeah,
slow motion. Just like I
yeah,
feel, when when you're in Europe, especially in Nordic countries like Sweden or Norway or Denmark, it seems like, you are in some old movie.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
And it's like here at least like I'll be walking around and I'll be like, man, like what because I've been looking for places. So, like I've done like a couple open houses, not a lot.
Okay.
But like one of them today was I went to one in Prospect Place where like the Prospect Park where
Okay.
the guy like took me around.
Right.
And
Right.
that was it was like very different. I mean, it feels so the aesthetic is like I mean it's like what you see in like that movie Do the Right Thing,
Uh-huh.
um the cartoon Static Shock,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So what do you do in Upper East Side?
I work at the Met. I work in the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Oh, great. Wow.
Yeah.
Great job. That's
Yeah, it's a good it pays very well for like what I do. I mean, I really just like do visitor service, like guest experience stuff. Like I don't really do
You're so knowledgeable. I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, and that's why I was trying to get hold of you to find your, your secret superpower, or your, what is the source of this knowledge? Is like you've been always a great reader, or what's going on?
to be honest, I just like consume information. Like I don't really to be perfectly fair, I don't like from one day to the next, my understanding or comprehension of any subject will fluctuate like
Okay,
completely
that's the most
to
beautiful
like from
thing.
one minute.
That's the
Yeah,
most
in
beautiful
one
thing
minute I
because
understand
yeah,
things very well,
yeah,
and then if I'm like there are some core things that I feel like I have a good kind of understanding, and then something that I kind of just like, there's no answer, there's never going to be an answer.
of course,
Like
that's the beauty,
just to get into it, like JFK, like I'm never going to get an answer. You're
right?
never going to get
Right,
you're never going to get like somebody, no old man is confessing that he shot JFK
right,
or something like that. Like nobody's gonna like you're never gonna get like a real answer. You're gonna get like a inference
right,
of a impression
right,
of a likely story that
right,
makes sense
right.
and fits your like worldview. Like if you think that like if you think that like that the government, the U.S. government would kill JFK, okay. If you think like that recently it's gotten like more popular online to be like it seems like did Israel maybe kill JFK? And I go like I mean seems kind of like
Unlikely.
well, it just seems like it's like oh Israel's like in the news a lot right now and
Yeah.
like very much like the
I don't
question of like
because
how they
they were undergoing their own crisis to the Munich Olympics, and there are so many things, but there are various what can you say? There are theories. But I totally agree with you that knowledge is a lifelong learning curve, and then when you become knowledge hungry, it becomes a problem because you need food for thought all the time.
Mhm.
And also the most beautiful aspect of this yearning for knowledge is that you keep two opposite thoughts in your mind. Like you said, it keeps on fluctuating from one day to another, and then decide basis on the basis of both, because you have to be exposed to both in order to come to your own conclusion, or not even a conclusion, but whatever derivative or observation or whatever implication, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
but
I, I that guy, I've been thinking about that thing you're talking about, like two, you're like, there's like a lot of it's kind of among like the people that I know, I would say like even people that are like, oh, I read a lot or whatever.
yeah,
A lot of people are very kind of like steadfast in like, oh, this is the truth. Like
yes,
this is the truth. And then they dismiss whatever virtue somebody else's argument.
right,
Like it doesn't come from nowhere. Like
yes,
somebody doesn't argue, you know, this or that
hmm,
just because they're evil or
yes,
just because they're stupid. Or
right,
like they're exposed, they can read every any source that you're getting
right,
online or from the news.
right,
Somebody that's like say like a QAnon person,
hmm,
they've heard it too. It
yeah.
just doesn't convince. It's not convincing to them.
Yes, you sound you're talking about my wife, evil and stupid is a combo, and I try to explain it to her. I try to give her deducive logic and loads of angles to explain the same thing. But again, there is this song by, there's a song as well, and there is this another one that thing that, I can tell you, I can teach you how to swim, but not why to swim, so
Yeah,
yeah, so but it would be, I mean, I would your speaking style and your approach, I would love to visit that museum sometime, and let you narrate and let you decipher and explain these paintings, because I used to write as well for this art. There was this art website called Art Fuse, and
hmm,
they used to send me to these exhibitions, and then I used to come back and write articles about that. Then it's a kind of a critic,
I get you.
say,
I get you.
some way. But I have a digital design background, digital art background,
Hmm.
so I've been
Cool
using.
background, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. So yeah, so and not this background, but I'm talking about, I've been using Photoshop since its
No,
inception.
no, I know you meant your history.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but we're gonna play with the words, because it is supposed to be a comedy podcast, not a history podcast, or politics, or But yeah. So tell me, when you started comedy, and yeah, tell me first, and I'll ask next question.
Sure. Like I was well, I was working at the Met, right?
Oh,
And then just like my boss like asked me to like I had already I've been considering doing stand-up for like a few years. I did it when I was like 18. I grew up in Miami, and I
okay.
did it for like a few weeks total. Like, I mean, it was like stretched out. Like I did like a couple open mics, and then like I got like a show, but that's because you're 18 and you're like you're a nice guy, and they
Yeah.
just kind of put you on. There's not a lot of comedians in Miami,
Oh,
so
okay. Okay.
it's really very not it's competitive, but
Uh-huh.
anywhere now is competitive.
Right.
But like if you're put into if you're fine, if you're not like if you're if you're comfortable on stage,
Mhm.
more or less, like they'll put you on. Like
Mhm.
they're not as picky.
But there are more special Spanish speaking mics over there, no?
Yeah, sure, sure. Well, I mean, there's Spanish speaking mics here too, but yeah, down there it's like I mean, down there you do get better react crowd reaction if you throw in some Spanish
Okay.
or like you let them know like like they're more comfortable
Hmm.
like engaging. Also stand up over down there and up here is kind of different. Like down there, people don't have like a comedy like audience discipline. Like they're not really like familiar with how to be an audience member at a stand up show.
Okay.
So they will like, I mean, here people might say heckling. Like if somebody goes like, somebody claps real loud
Right.
and says like, throws in like a just like a little taster at the like a little extra oomph at the end of your joke
Right.
at the end of your punchline. Like they don't really, they're not there. It's to them, it's not considered rude.
Right.
And they don't they don't. And if you said I don't know if somebody had told them
Hmm.
that you shouldn't do that, they
Hmm.
wouldn't have done it.
Hmm.
But they're just not. That's not really. They're not thinking that. Like they go to
That's
a
the way it
bar.
should be. The other day there was I was at Secret Pour, and there's this feedback thing over there, and I told that because the bit that I had was totally anti woke, so I told them that you girls are not going to like it, but I'm still going to go ahead, and she started, one of the feedback girls, she started heckling in the middle, and I appreciated it, I liked it, and I kept on answering her as well. Because it wasn't number one, it wasn't powerful. Her voice, her heckling was powerful, but not the point. So I just spin it around. And but I always say that these white comedians have some issue, being interrupted while they have been interrupting the history all over, the countries and their economies and their, governments. But jokes aside, now it has developed into a new art form by Andrew Schulz and Ian Begg. This crowd work thing is totally based on heckling, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think what's interesting is like the word woke recently. Like I was talking to a friend of mine. I was telling him about like just the word woke came up, and he was like, well, he's functioning off of like the definition of woke
Hmm.
from like 10-ish 15-ish years ago,
Oh, okay.
when it was like just with like the black community, like, oh, are you, bro? I'm very woke. Like
Right.
I've been reading up on, you know, things that have happened in the last 50, 60 years after Jim Crow, and then before that, after Reconstruction, after like the Civil War,
Hmm.
this stuff. Like I'm reading up on how, like the black community has sort of been in ways like the focus
Hmm.
has been manipulated,
Right.
from like, oh, it used to be like, in the black, it used to be like, oh, we're fighting for basic civil rights,
Uh-huh.
we're fighting for like equal rights.
Okay.
And then today it would be like you're fighting for like reparations, like justice, like a re like a what do they call it, like a settlement, sort of. You're fighting for like a like a correction,
Right. That is right.
sort of. I
That
mean, look, not that I understand it very well, but like
right. 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 No, no,
entirely very well, but
right. I agree
you
with
know,
you.
stuff like that. So we were talking. So he's coming from that kind of definition of it, like
Hmm.
from back then.
Hmm.
And then I told him like, well, definitions, like words have kind of migrated.
Right.
Like like the word woke is like, I was telling him how like the word woke is kind of has like a negative tinge on it right now after the election.
Hmm.
And like why? Because we were talking about like why um the Republicans and like Trump and stuff, why they use the word woke, and they use it like this, like derogatory,
That's right.
like
That's
it's a
exactly.
derogatory,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
like it's a slur almost.
Yes. Almost. Yes.
And then and he was like, well, that's like so like inconsistent, like
Mhm.
with what he thinks the word woke is. Like it's not a
Yes.
negative term.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 I
And
mean,
then I told him, well,
yeah.
different words kind of change, especially with who uses it the most.
Exactly. Yes, I was about to say that we have a little bit of immunity using it, being in minority. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that again we are transgressing into more historic viewpoint, and I want to explore the funny side of you.
Oh,
So,
sure, sure,
uh,
sure, sure, sure.
so tell me. So you started at 20 when you were 18, and then what happened in Miami?
I'll be honest with you. I met, not met, but like I met, there was this one comedian. I think his name is I want to say Ian Glass or Gary Glass or
Okay.
something Gary, Ian Gary maybe.
Okay.
Um, Let me see. I'll look him up. But basically, I met a comedian. That's like a real comedian. Like I hadn't really, not Ian Gary, but like Todd Glass, maybe Todd Gary.
Okay.
Anyway, fuck. Anyway, so I met this comedian.
Mhm.
Um, Bald dude, like traditionally
Right.
funny looking guy,
Okay.
like skinny and like hunched over and
Right.
just like a New York comedian.
Got it.
And I met him and I was like, and he was, I'm not even really an open mic comedian. I'm
Hmm.
just a kid
Hmm.
who like is there as like a novelty.
Hmm.
I don't really have like an act, to be honest. Like I'm not really talented at all.
No, no,
So
you are.
then
You
so
are.
I think he right, he knew that right away. So like he
Ah,
was like, I think I asked him a question or two, and I kind of the way I also was like, man, this guy's really, really funny.
Hmm.
And I'm not even close to that.
I mean,
And I
if
was
you
like,
compare yourself from professionals, then it's a different ball game. But the way you connect with the audience, the way you rhyme or you groove your act, and just how you the synergy that you have
yeah,
within your various various sections in your bit. For example, the way you move from your movie bit to, there is another one, which I really liked. So it's very smooth, and then first time I saw you, I never saw you doing it, saying it again, but you were saying, "I'm not going to lie to you," and it was just, maybe you use it in your everyday language, but the way you snuck in, I'm not going to lie to you. It was so funny because you were taking the bit too high, and then you used to shove this. I'm not going to lie to you. So it was like it became part of material on its own because there are parts where comedians keep on repeating something that they have referenced before, and then they throw their one liners, the same repetition of the same line in between to remind that it is somehow connected. So I really like it, and you are definitely very funny, and your variety of your huge reservoir of knowledge is always handy in terms of observational way.
yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, at the same time, back then I was 18,
Yes, of course.
so I was like intimidated
Right.
by like so and here's the thing is this is a person who had like I think I Googled him or something, and he was like at like a Friars Club roast of like Jerry Seinfeld or something. Like, he was
Huh?
like on the dais. He's like a real comedian,
Right.
and and I was like, and he's been doing it for like 20 something years at this point,
Mhm.
and he's like doing a club in Miami in front of like 10 15 people.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, oh man. I mean, they don't really advertise it. It's a thing he kind of dropped in.
Hmm.
But I also to be honest, like I just had never heard of him. Like
Okay.
I'd never heard of him. I didn't really like if I checked his YouTube channel, I think it might at the time, like he didn't really have one. He's not really he's one of those like wasn't really
Right.
even on podcasts or anything.
Right.
Anyway, he like I was like, man, like what if I end up like that?
Hmm.
Like what if I'm like not even like if I pursue this whole
That's
like
right.
he's completely that's his only job. He doesn't have another this is
Ah, okay.
stand up
Hmm.
and he makes his money from like touring.
Okay.
But I'm wonder if I'm just gonna be like a middle act.
Right.
Like he's not a bad he's probably a headliner.
Right.
Like but he's really more of a middle for like a national head. He's like a middle. He's like a guy who tours with
Right. That's right.
Seinfeld.
Understand. Yeah.
Like a guy who knows somebody
Right.
who's super famous or somebody who can really draw tickets.
Right.
And I was like, man, I think I'm. So I was like, it's gonna be tough. Like it's super competitive.
Hmm.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm doing well in school.
Hmm.
Let me just stick to that for a little while.
Hmm.
See how mind that.
Hmm.
Like put stand up comedy, whatever,
Hmm.
furthest from your mind. Like you're not even really. I didn't even go to a performing arts high school.
Okay.
I was not even really. It was never really like. It's not something I'm that committed to.
Right.
So then I came to New York, went to school, everything, and then I was at work.
Hmm.
And just like my boss, he asked me to like take off my like I was wearing like a beanie at the time. It was like the
Okay.
5 minutes before we clock out.
Hmm.
And he said, like, you're not in uniform. You should take off that hat.
Hmm.
And I was just like like I did it because I was like, this is gonna be a much bigger headache.
Right.
If I say no.
Yeah.
If I say no, it's gonna be like a way bigger thing. I'm gonna have to like talk to somebody higher than him. They're
Right.
gonna be like, you're being insubordinate. Like here's a write up.
Right.
Like like is there a reason why you didn't take the hat off? Like just like all these things were very like looking back on it, I made the right decision not
Okay.
fighting it.
Okay.
But I was like, damn, this is like I'm like fully like not I'm like I have like no way to express myself.
Right.
Like so I was like, you know what, let me just look up stand up and I found the tiny cupboard
Hmm.
and I think I emailed them and
Hmm.
they said, yeah, you just show up.
Hmm.
I don't even know who I emailed to be honest, because
Right.
everybody's like, I didn't even email a host. I probably emailed like the bartender downstairs or
Right.
something.
Right.
And he
Yes.
said, yeah, you just show up. It's $2 or whatever. So
Yeah.
then I showed up. I did that, and I was like, and it happened to be Friday when they did They used to do like if you remember Nathan, he used to do like a
Yes.
actually Nathan wasn't even hosting at this time.
Okay.
It was somebody else, but like on Fridays, the at 10 p.m. the 10 p.m. mic
Uh-huh.
would be a competition mic,
Right.
and like they just would like if you won, you got to go for free next Friday or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did that, and I just kind of off the cuff, like I just talked about whatever,
Mhm.
and it went well, and then
Okay.
and so I got like reinforcement, like
Mhm.
to like come back. You
Right.
know, I got like positive feedback, and then I came back and kept going and kept going and kept going, and then maybe a month in, I'm
Mhm.
thinking, you know what? I think I'm good enough to do like a bringer show or like a real show in front of real thing. So I do a bringer show like
Right.
a month and a half in
Uh-huh.
at Gotham,
Uh-huh.
and I follow Jim Gaffigan,
Okay.
and he does like 30 minutes
Uh,
of murder
okay.
of just like literally it's so universal how there were so many different groups of people there.
Uh-huh.
One comedian, he was like in a wheelchair,
Uh-huh.
like disabled completely,
Okay.
and he brought all of the people he brought also severely like wheelchair disabled,
Got it.
and the Jim Gaffigan was for everybody. They laughed, the people I brought laughed, the
Uh-huh.
people who were like every identity you could say like laugh found him funny. Like
Yes.
he was not like nobody was like, oh, this I kind of that I don't that's not really my kind of thing.
Right.
Like he found a way. He was just universally funny. And then I
Yes.
followed that. That
Okay.
was like 30 minutes later, and so like you know, in a way in stand up, you know, like it's not a good thing to compare yourself to anybody or anything just because
Yeah.
the level you're at or whatever.
Right.
But just like that, like years, decades
Mhm.
of
Practice.
being a
Right.
national headliner
Right.
level comedian,
Uh-huh.
seeing that, and then me going up, I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna have to like, I would need to like to catch up.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna take a few years. So like that conclusion is like, oh, you know what? But this was like a year ago,
Okay.
almost. Not quite. This was in September last year.
Okay.
Um, but like coming to that realization is like, you know what? I just need to go slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just need to go at my pace
Mm-hmm.
and not feel discouraged. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because like if I'm comparing myself to him,
Mm-hmm.
that went terribly.
Yes.
But if I'm comparing myself to like, because then I did a bringer show.
No, how did it go
Uh,
after Jim Gaffigan?
I well the Jim Gaffigan one went eh, like 2 minutes in. I just did 2 minutes of like material on him.
Uh-huh.
On like, did you guys think that was funny? Like, there's no way you guys thought that was like
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Right.
Like 2 minutes of that, and then when it was like when I felt like okay, good, like the crowd's like good, like they've laughed at like the stuff I've done about Jim Gaffigan. Let
Right.
me just do my material.
Right.
It was hard for me to like because you know it's like a month and a half in. Like I don't know how to like
Right.
transition to it naturally. Like
Got
I
it.
started just kind of jumped in the middle so that way
Uh-huh.
I could do the ending,
Right.
and that was not the right thing. That was you know no, looking back on it, that was probably not the right. That was
Mhm.
definitely not the right approach for it. So then, so that
I,
it
I
went
don't think
okay.
so. I don't think so. It was. I would necessarily put it that way because just following Jim Gaffigan is a huge experience in its own. Not only that, I see comedians talking about mechanics. Like for example, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done that, or whatever. I should have excluded this, or it should have included this. But I think it is all about response, and I mean response that not from the crowd, but the comedian that he the response that he's getting from the crowd, and the way he's responding to that, how he's bringing along or collecting his material and then try to make it funny, and it's about the body language and the behavior, because just in the shift of tone, and just because writing is writing, the same joke, if given to different people, will be told differently. But what I'm trying to say is that there are so many unknown and invisible and intrinsic and intangible things that you would have learned through, following up Jim Gaffigan and then relating to his jokes and, spinning them and making people laugh. So, but again, everything is a learning curve. And for example, Umar was telling me that there's this guy who you should send your material and he's going to critique that. I said the thing is, you cannot critique anybody's, like you mentioned, you cannot compare, but it's just every writer's innate ability to process stuff and then throw it out in a funny way. And
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time, and it's only a matter of practice and exercise, like you mentioned, that decades of headlining nationwide. Jim Gaffigan has developed that feel, and until now, for example, his latest special, where he has lost some weight. I There were some areas that were not as good as to his previous material. The ape special, and then his European tour special, and then of course the hot pockets and other food related stuff. So it's that's the beauty. It's a journey, and it's
Yeah.
like you mentioned, expression. It's imperative for my mental health now. And it's just waking up and putting some special or something funny just increases your drive and your willpower so much, and there are so many subconscious factors that really become a fuel for more productive lifestyle.
Yeah. 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 I know what you mean. I mean, it's in a lot of ways also like your own self-confidence is really like a big factor in all this. Like if you I feel like even if you do well, like I've if you do well and you didn't say any of the material that you've been working on for a week or something, to be totally honest with you, like that in and of itself is valuable because
Yes,
it means like you
exactly.
could have been working
There's
on
no
like
downhill. There is no downhill. There's
no,
only polishing in terms of self-confidence.
yeah,
Once you get on stage and you continue to be on stage for a year or whatever, it is only uphill. There is no way that you're going to get worse in any way. Even if you have the
no,
dumbest material, your self-confidence is at least going to improve.
yeah. Yeah, the only thing that could really like mess you up
Hmm.
would be if there are things that like are stipulations that
Hmm.
maybe you that make the event feel less natural. Like if you go to a club and they say like, hey, it's gonna be 2 minutes and maybe you're just like, oh, okay. And that's something that consciously
Hmm.
you weren't thinking about or
Yes.
something like that, or like, oh
Yes.
it'll
How
be
you
two
have to
minutes, two
squeeze
minutes.
all the material
Yeah.
in a shorter time.
Yeah, or like even like okay, so 2 minutes. Oh, do 2 minutes, but do the material that you were going to do at the end or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
They give you some stipulation like that, and you're like, well,
That's
I've never started with the freaking closer before,
right.
and so then you go in and you're like, I think I'm gonna let me start by like I don't know doing something. Let me start by doing the end of the middle, so that
Right.
that way it transitions to the
That is
closer.
correct. That's right.
And then it's like, well, sometimes
That's what
don't
I did
say
as well.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. There was
Don't
this
say like
in the pink.
don't tell me what I should say or like
Exactly.
what you would like to hear me say up there. If you give me a stipulation like time
Right.
or a stipulation like, hey, just so you know, everybody in the crowd
Uh-huh.
is European.
Right.
So they don't understand any references.
Exactly.
So just take out any references. If you
Right.
tell me that before, like the day before,
Right.
like I or the day before, that's good. That's
Right.
enough.
Right.
Or but if you tell me like stage day of, I
Right.
find out, or don't even have to tell me. Like if you just bring it up, hey, just like there's Europeans, you can
Right.
still do your material.
Right.
I'm gonna be like I don't know. It's gonna throw off the situation. Like for
Yes.
me personally,
That's right.
like like I did like for example recently I did a show and at Greenwich and they were like, hey, just like the first row is people from Belgium and Germany.
Hmm.
I went up there, and the stipulation when I got the show
Hmm.
was do your material that I heard you do.
Hmm.
Like do the material that got you here.
Right.
Okay, just polish it up a little bit, but like, just do the thing. I thought it was really funny.
Hmm.
So do the material. And if you don't do it,
Hmm.
um, they'll let me know and you're not even gonna the second.
Right.
So I
Sorry,
was like, oh
cut
shit, what
off.
the fuck?
You tell me the last part again. You cut off a little bit.
Oh sure. So like they said, hey, if you don't do your like if you do open mic stuff, like if you
Right.
try something out
Uh-huh.
that I haven't heard before, that's not in the reel,
Uh-huh.
and I showed them,
Hmm.
um, they'll let me know and they won't put you on for the next week. Like I was doing a Sunday and then the next Sunday.
Okay,
So like
got it.
they won't put you on even for the next Sunday, even though you're scheduled for next
Right,
Sunday.
right,
They'll take you off. Like just
right.
make sure you do.
And where was this place?
It was at Greenwich,
Greenwich. Okay,
Greenwich
got it.
Village Comedy Club.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
So I went there and
Mm.
they were like, gotta hear, hey man, you didn't say like I got there and I was like in my head thinking like, okay, got so I'll do the material
Hmm.
that they saw.
Hmm.
It's been going well. It does really well. Let me just do that.
Hmm.
So then I went up there
Hmm.
and I did that. They're Belgian and they're German. They've never heard of
That's true.
any of none of the references make
Right,
any sense to them. It'd be
right,
like making them watch Family Guy. Like
right.
they don't understand at all what I'm saying.
That's right.
Um, and they're smiling or they're not really even paying attention. They're looking at me.
Right,
They're really reacting, and I'm like, man, this is not going. Like in my head, I'm like, ooh, this is going badly. But
right.
the guy did tell me like if I don't do much material,
Hmm.
like I'm in trouble or
Right.
like don't. So that can mess me. That could have that in the future. I think like this is all a learning experience. But like in the
Uh,
future, I would say like I would do what feels good,
yes.
like what
That's
feels right, what
that's
feels
what
like
that's what
appropriate.
differentiates us from everyone. I mean, from the professionals, because the thing, not even differentiate. It's the same thing. Like for example, I see Amy Schumer even different on different tours. She start when she's feeling that the crowd is not responsive in a way that she expects them to. Then she throws in these stuff to bring them in the groove because she's
Yeah,
well rehearsed about it. And of course, what is the difference between live comedy and then recorded comedy is that you can switch your material depending on the response of the crowd.
yeah, yeah. That's a huge. I mean, and also the thing is that the crowd is telling you what they kind of want to hear, like they like whatever's like resonating with them,
Mhm.
whatever's resonating. And here's another thing is that a show where nobody knows your name,
Mhm.
like a show that's like a just advertises it's Greenwich Village Comedy Club. Like there's four or five people there who they might put on the marquee,
Mhm.
and then there's like four or five development spots
Right.
for like people that they saw at a different club
Mhm.
that they want to bring on that are young that are like
Mhm.
working stuff out like just to see how they do it like this environment in front of a real audience.
Sure.
And you're there and like so the audience already is could be a mix of people. Like
Mhm.
they don't with some shows like Greenwich, they'll put on a guy who's like does half of his material with like Spanish.
Mhm.
Like I saw that. Like I saw not Spanish, but like half of his material is like a Dominican
Okay. Different language.
Latino like
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
And then the next guy comes up and he's got like nervous spectrum energy. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
like a guy who's gonna talk about who's like a little bit on the spectrum. And
Okay.
he's gonna talk about like his like having trouble going to a laundromat,
Right.
like having anxiety
Right.
in like the real world. So it's like a very different kind of confidence.
Yes.
Very, very, very huge,
Yeah.
very not the opposite in
Right.
terms of like they can work together, they can be in the same room and everything,
Yeah.
but it's you're gonna see like a different reaction. Like and for some people, like when they go to a comedy show,
Hmm.
if well for different groups, I don't know if you've noticed, like where I'm from in Venezuela,
Hmm.
my family when they watch like comedy,
Hmm.
it's always like 1980s American comedy
Right.
style, you
Right.
know, like screaming
Right.
and like doing funny voices,
Right.
like what we would consider like juvenile humor
Right.
maybe here. Not
Right.
not us, you and I, but like here in America, like the culture would be like, oh, that's like what Larry the Cable Guy does or something like that. It's like
So yeah. Yeah.
that's
So
not
it's
smart or
yeah.
whatever.
So it was brilliant having you. You will cut off any moment, and I think this would was not
Oh,
enough.
that's it.
And I think yeah, and I think I will have to invite you again to discuss more about your shows and your style of comedy. So thank you so much, and
Thank you, Con. Thank
yeah,
you.
and
I'll see you at the Secret Port.
yeah. Are you coming to Secret Port today?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, okay. I will try my best.
All right. I'll
All
see
right.
you. See you.
See you
See
then.
you
All
next
right.
time then.
All right. Take care. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, man. Have a
Bye.
great one.